You know, those aspects have been too. Everybody's tougher, stronger, quicker, faster, could jump higher. So that aspect and the traveling has been, you know, tough too.
Because of the lockout, you had a very brief training camp. How much did that slow you down?
I mean, preparing for the NBA, I mean, I didn't care if there was going to be one or not. I mean, I wanted there to be, but I was at home working out, you know, 3 times a day, lifting weights, doing a lot of cardio, and, you know, shooting a lot and playing a lot. So either way, I was going to be in shape and ready.
Some team bring rookies along slowly. You've started every game for the Grizzlies. You prefer it that way?
I've always played, you know, I played when I got to Arizona. I started coming as a freshman when I was in high school. You know, I played every game, and, you know, that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I was going to go try to get it no matter how I could. So I wanted to come in and start, you know, play right away, play a lot of minutes.
You didn't lose a lot of games with the Arizona Wildcats. The Grizzlies come in tonight at 4-14. Is losing wearing this team down at all?
I mean, I think it's just a lot of mental things. And, you know, we had a little talk today on, you know, a few things. And, you know, I think we're going to be ready and come out aggressive tonight.
How about your old Arizona teammate, Jason Terry? How good a pro is he going to be? He's the Pac-10 Player of the Year this season.
Yeah, he was doing great. I didn't get to see that many games up in Vancouver, but, you know, I saw a little bit of highlights, and he was doing real good.
I bet you're picking Arizona for the tournament, huh?
I hope so. I hope so.
Did all right 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's Mike Bibby. We're coming back with the Warriors and the Grizz in just one moment. Muggsy Bogues is activated once again. The tip is next here on Fox Sports Bay Area.
Is being introduced on the arena floor. Mike Bibby, Sharif Abdul-Rahim will lead the way of the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Bibby, Abdul-Rahim, Cherokee Parks, Felipe Lopez, and Bryant Big Country Reeves for Brian Hill, who was trying to find a way out of this slump for Vancouver. Vancouver actually 7-11 a year ago, 4-14 now, and Jim having lost 11 of 12. They're just not defending anybody.
Well, their last win was against the LA Lakers, and that's what got Del Harris fired. So you look at that record, and it kind of scares the coach. I guarantee it scares PJ.
Brian Weber told you Muggsy Bogues is activated, but Jason Caffey's still out with tendonitis in the right Achilles. So Danielle Marshall, John Starks, Chris Mills, Tony Delk, and Eric Dampier for PJ Carlissimo and the Warriors. And Warriors haven't won 5 in a row at home. Disappointed they didn't get more than 1 win on that road trip because they played better than that. But he has struggled, but matched up with Brian Hill. And Danielle has to play much better.
Only a couple of rebounds in Cleveland and 3 in limited playing time against Indiana.
Mike Bibby, drafted 2nd overall, had real high praise coming from another Mike, Michael Jordan. On Mike Bibby, the best pro to be. He likes Bibby. I would agree with Michael. I love that kid too. Quiet, works hard. You never really notice him until the game is over and you see who the real leader was. That's a great analogy there. Maurice Cheeks with a jump shot.
And that's why I said he's a scoring point guard. I love players like that when you don't notice them, and yet they do control the basketball game. Very confident young man. The NBA officials, a great crew tonight. Eric Stafford, Dick Bavetta, and Dee Kantner.
Dick Bavetta, the league's best. And the Warriors, after watching a parade of free throws in Cleveland, will be anxious to more of a let-them-play style of game. And we have an inadvertent horn to get things going here. And there's also 12:02 remaining in the first quarter.
That's amazing. You get the tip and you actually gain some playing time.
It'll be the longest game in NBA history. It'll be 48:02.
Well, see, this way you play the overtime period before you start that first quarter. In case there's any discrepancy, whoever gets first basket, they win at the end. It doesn't make sense at all, so we'll just go with it. I've never seen that happen. Bob, I've been around the NBA since 1966. I've never seen the clock gain time.
Dick Bavetta will take control of that and give the Warriors the out of bounds on the sideline.
Make up your mind, Nick. You gotta reach up.
And they have it all in sync now with 20 to shoot and 11:56 remaining in the first. Tony Delk did not practice with the Warriors yesterday. His mother is recovering from a sextuple bypass heart operation. And so Tony back in the starting lineup and an excused absence from practice yesterday, and certainly our wishes to the rest of the Delk family. Eric Dampier with the left hand right around Big Country Reeves, and a good start for the Warriors as they lead 2-0.
Well, they're going to test Big Country early, it appears. Only his 8th start of the season. It's been a very disappointing for Big Country so far.
Dampier has Cherokee Parks. Big Country inside returns the layup favor, and we're even at 2. Chris Mills, a runner in the lane. Mills, a very difficult shooting night in Cleveland, was 1 for his first 11.
In fact, he's 5 for 24 in the last 2 games.
Sharif missing, couldn't tip in his own miss, but Cherokee Parks gives Vancouver a new possession.
Cherokee Parks has always played well against the Warriors, whether it was in Dallas, Minnesota, wherever it may be.
Bibby at the top of the key. Misfiring, and the rebound pulled by Dampier. John Starks opening on Bibby, and Delk watching Felipe Lopez. But the other way around, Vancouver's playing it differently. Dampier, foul line jumper. Eric Dampier hit his first jumper of the season at Indiana on Friday and follows up with a 15-footer there.
That's one shot that he's been working on because he knows he can get that about any time.
Big Country, ball partially deflected. Marshall the rebound. Warriors up 2 with the ball.
Now when John Starks gets that ball, Tony ought not wait in the backcourt. He ought to just go right down and try to be the off guard. They didn't get a break that time because of that.
And Bryant Reeves fouling Dampier on the entry pass. Big Country has struggled by being overweight. In fact, he was pulled from the starting lineup, said he was nearly 30 to 40 pounds out of shape.
Well,
he's slowly been shedding that.
Last year he shot 52%, over 16 points a game in his 3rd year. Now he's at 40%. His free throw percentage is down. His rebounding is down. Of course, the minutes are a little bit. Scoring is down 6 points a game.
And if you're Vancouver and you invested $60 million over 6 years, you don't want one of your cornerstone franchise pieces to put on an extra 30, 40 pounds.
It just, to me, shows a lot of irresponsibility.
Tony Delk had it stripped away briefly. Starks 3 is right through.
That's one. See, that's the way Vancouver's been allowing people to shoot. You could see it was a fumbled ball. Only one place to go was Starks, and no one really covered him. And they gave up a 3. That's the kind of defense they've been playing during this losing streak.
Now, the scoreboard is not working here in the arena. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard, but it is 7-4. So any distraction for the players not knowing what the score is?
I think that would be a distraction. You got to listen to Dick Callahan, the public address announcer, after each score and kind of remember it.
Mills, beautiful pass to Marshall. And Danielle flushes it. The Warriors up 5.
That's such a great play. You come off a screen. If you come off it hard and close, you often get 2 men jumping, and that's what Mills saw. Danielle rolled to the hoop.
Bibby lost it briefly. Delk blocked his shot. Warrior deflection. Warriors in transition.
Well, they had the numbers, but Tony couldn't get control with all of the people around him. So Mills should have a quickness over Cherokee Parks.
Delk trying to lose Sharif Abdul-Rahim, shoots over him, but Marshall's putback doesn't fall.
Here's a guy you have to worry about shooting outside.
Sharif with a little jump hook. Had a couple of those last night against Portland. Not going, and Starks will handle. Starks and Dampier on the 2-man game. The pass led Dampier a little too much, and he pats his chest as eye contact with Starks. He said, "You're right, I should have rolled a little further to the rim."
Maybe that should be a bounce pass also. Gives you a chance to pick it up. Sharif Abdul-Rahim loves the low block. So good at either side. And I don't think he has a preferential side, quite frankly.
Ryan Reeves shooting over Marshall after he got him up in the air. Mills with the rebound. Warriors lead by 5. We played nearly 4 minutes. Marshall down low to Dampier. Dropped it initially. Can't finish it off, but has the offensive board and is fouled.
Little fumbleitis for Eric Dampier early on. He knows it.
Dampier, though, very active. 4 points, 3 rebounds, and even after fumbling that and missing the bunny, stayed with it enough to get the ball and get himself to the foul line. Dampier's last 2 games, 13.5 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, shooting 47%, much better than his 34% on the season.
Actually, he wasn't great in Cleveland, but he certainly was not bad in Cleveland.
Well, had he not fouled out,
he was fabulous in Indiana.
Yeah, in Cleveland he had 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks. And had he not fouled out of that game prematurely, probably would have added to those numbers. Missing both free throws, and Dampier at 53% on the season from the line. That's an area that's continued to plague him and the Warriors.
People keep asking me why they miss like that nowadays, and they start missing, it becomes so mental.
Parks from the baseline. Vancouver within 3. And the reason the Grizzlies have lost 11 of 12 is that they've given up nearly 104 points a game over the last dozen.
There's only one other team that gives up more points in the league. Dampier got fouled on that play, didn't get it. Guess which team that is? They're 0-15.
Play Clippers.
Gonna need help.
Abdur-Rahim on Mills. Dampier came to help. They leave big country. Misfiring, and Abdur-Rahim the offensive board. And he throws it into the Warrior bench, but Starks got a piece of it. Remain Vancouver ball with 20 to shoot.
Shareef Abdur-Rahim passed up that 17-footer. Still not comfortable from long range, certainly, and he'd still rather get to the basket a little bit. He's kind of like Oscar Robertson in that respect. He wouldn't mind dribbling in. This ball will be Vancouver's possession, but he'll dribble in, Bob, to get somewhere about 8 or 6 feet from the basket with a guy draped all over him, rather than take a 16-footer all alone. Very unusual.
Parks spots up Felipe Lopez, had a career-high 12 last night, missing the jumper there, and Cherokee Parks grabbing Chris Mills. And that's Parks' second foul. So we hit the mandatory. 6:59 remaining in the first. The Warriors up 3 and trying to look inside on Vancouver. Up 3 with 6:59 to go in the first. If your child is celebrating a birthday during the Warriors season, be sure to treat him or her to the Thunder Birthday Blast. A party up to 14 people for only $200. You can call 1-888-GSW-HOOP. The Thunder Birthday Blast is for kids 14 and under. And while the Warriors have 6 players 25 and under, not going to qualify for the Thunder party. Daniel Marshall missing, Eric Dampier following.
And that's why you don't have to call plays for Eric Dampier. He can just pick up the garbage inside like that by working hard. He's got quickness and size. I like his body language tonight early on. Stays down on Reeves.
Bibby from the baseline. And Michael Smith, the very good offensive rebounder, checking in, pulling that, and setting up Shareef Abdur-Rahim. They mentioned the offensive glass. That's the one area in basketball you can be as selfish as you want. Get as many offensive rebounds and putback attempts. Coaches don't mind that a bit. Starks behind the back to Mills. Shot clock down to 9. He spots Marshall. Passes up the 3. Delk doesn't and drops in the jumper. A long 2.
You know what I like about that play? First of all, great ball movement, but Tony Delk stepped inside the line to get an easier one.
Much more his range. Abdur-Rahim, beautiful feed, and dropping it in. Shareef with 6 early.
Shareef just one of those players that innately knows how to score.
Mills a catch and shoot 3. Now Bibby on the handle.
Quick post up for Shareef before he can get help.
Daniel Marshall came to help, but it was too late, and Shareef Abdur-Rahim, 8 of Vancouver's 12 on 4 of 7 shooting.
And you see how they come from different spots on the floor. As I say, I still can't figure out whether he likes left side of the basket or right side.
Delk was looking for Dampier and said Starks will take it on the right wing with 8 to shoot. Baseline fade, tough shot, an air ball. Dampier didn't hit iron, and Mills will let fly, drop it in as the 24 clock expired. Long 2 for Mills, but another rebound for Dampier, who has 5 boards and 6 points.
Sometimes as an offensive rebounder, an air ball can help you because the defense is so intent on blocking out, they really don't see the ball. Nice pump fake as you get the shoot and roll.
Does not. Michael Smith gets fouled, puts it in, and will go to the line. The Warriors will have to keep Mike the Animal Smith out of Providence off the offensive boards, and Antoine Jamison, whose specialty has been rebounding early in his rookie season, struggled on the road trip. And body language-wise, Jim appeared to really be frustrated at his own play. Antoine, he's not a sulker, he's not a pouter, but you can just see him shrug or hang his shoulders sometimes if he didn't execute.
I think it's a fair assessment. You can see that body language from him. Donald Foyle, let's see if he can get on the glass and create some havoc.
Bimbo Coles, Antoine Jamison, and Donald Foyle checking in. So Muggsy Bogues, activated tonight, does not come in as the backup point guard. Bimbo does, and Eric Dampier with a two-hand rip as he spun baseline. Tony Massenburg's going to have a tough time dealing with Dampier.
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen this quick. Sharif gets it rejected, but will get to the line. Dampier is reacting at both ends of the floor.
Well, Sharif just torched Antoine Jamison in the block that time.
This is a very quick move. He just simply lost Tony Massenburg. Did not travel. Nice little move on it.
Abdur Rahim now with 9. He single-handedly is keeping Vancouver close. And I still can't get over, Jim. Sharif is only 22 years of age. He won't be 23 till December. So young in his third season.
What's scary is he could have played for Cal this year as a senior.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably wouldn't be playing in the NIT tomorrow night.
Bimbo Coles on the feed from Starks. Can't hit the jumper. Kept alive on the glass. Pulled by Jamison. Dampier's follow doesn't go.
I love Bimbo. That's a great play. Now, he didn't come out with it. Still, look, he's get back in time. Maybe scores, but Bob, I love a guy that takes a chance to go in there and recover that.
Vancouver on top. And the Warriors turn it back over. So
Let's go.
the Warriors doing some nice things, but also a little careless with the ball. And an 11-4 run by the Grizzlies was giving them the 2-point lead.
But just like you said, Jamison a moment ago had a nice little offensive rebound. Nobody in front of him. Instead of using the glass, he went right to the rim and shot it about 18 inches long. Didn't draw anything. And he just is a little too anxious.
Tony Massenburg on the pick and roll. Rotated to Sharif. A 3 for Abdur Rahim. He dropped it in. He had not been shooting a lot of threes. That's only his 4th made, but only 10th attempted, so the percentage is very good.
That's not his range, but once he got it going here in the first quarter, he feels like he can score anywhere, as evidence.
Starks missing from the outside. It was batted out of bounds by Vancouver. It'll be Warrior ball. So the Grizzlies struggling the past 8, but not tonight as they lead by 5. By 5, but the individual battle also being won by Vancouver. Eric Dampier's hanging in there for the Warriors, but no match for Sharif.
Well, Dampier's hit from the outside. He's made the quick spin moves inside, finishing very strongly. But the Warriors don't have an answer for Sharif Abdur Rahim. Over the top, Chris Mills, he's got a height advantage. Then he takes Mills down to the low block. The defensive help comes late from the weak side in the person of Danielle Marshall. Sharif Abdur Rahim is off to a tremendous start, and then he hits that 3-pointer, only the 4th so far for him this year.
Dampier with 8 points, Abdur Rahim with 13 and 3 boards.
Interestingly enough, he hit 21 3-pointers last year out of 51, 41%. Just doesn't take that many because he knows it's not his range, so he's very judicious in those attempts. He was wide open that one he made.
If I was coaching him, I'd never let him lead the block. He's too effective down there. Starks, a long 2 at his foot on the line. Terry Cummings to Donald Foyle. Starks, Bimbo Coles, Antoine Jamison. Bibby, Michael Smith, Felipe Lopez now with the ball. Abdur Rahim and Tony Massenburg for Vancouver. Abdur Rahim right around Jamison, and an offensive foul as he used his free arm to hook Antoine Jamison. The Warriors will get the ball back. That's Abdur Rahim's first personal.
The Grizzlies lineup.
So a 3-point game, Vancouver on top. Cummings to work on Massenburg. Shot clock at 9. Donald Foyle, great position, better finish, and the foul.
Very nice entry pass from Bimbo.
This is a good example of just how physical a Donald Foyle can be at 250 pounds.
Well, he held off inside and on Michael Smith, and the pass was right on the money because it was to the outside away from the defender. So all Foyle had to do was home to the basket.
O'Donnell misfiring, but finishing fairly smoothly on that layup. Those in his rookie year were plays where O'Donnell would get the good position and not be able to get the ball in the basket.
What I liked about it is he finished without a dunk. He got it quickly off to the glass, rather than cock it for a dunk where he may have been fouled instead of being able to get the basket.
The Warriors double teamed Abdur-Rahim, made him give it up. Massenburg drains the rainbow jumper, and Vancouver back up 3. Bimbo trying to run it back. It was kicked, kept alive. Vancouver with Abdur-Rahim fouled by O'Donnell Foyle, and Sharif will get to the line. O'Donnell picks up his second foul.
Number 31, O'Donnell Foyle, second personal. Warriors first in the final.
Putting Abdur-Rahim on the line's been no picnic, 83%. And the number of free throws attempted, 157 in 18 games.
Yeah, he's shooting close to 9 free throws a game.
Abdur-Rahim dropping in the first free throw. Thursday, Stephon Marbury, Kevin Garnett, and another return to Joe Smith. It'll be 7:30 right here on Fox Sports Bay Area. Minnesota took care of Seattle tonight. And the T-Wolves have been playing very well. Warriors have split 2 games with Minnesota thus far this season.
In the one game this year, Sharif attempted 19 free throws. You get to the line 19 times, it means you're going to the basket.
Splits a pair there, and Vancouver's lead is 4. Bimbo Cole's trying to set up Jamison. Cummings top of the key look, drops it down.
Bimbo passed him a shot. I thought he could have had a good jump shot from position there, but he found Cummings. Cummings would probably like to be about 2 feet closer on that play.
Lee Mayberry checking in for Mike Bibby. Mayberry with 11 to shoot, coming off a leg injury. Abdur-Rahim, he's been everything for Vancouver. That does not change. Abdur-Rahim was 16 of Vancouver's 27.
Well, the Warriors got a rotation. They had a man wide open, but I still wouldn't leave Abdur-Rahim. He's the guy I would stay with. I would let Massenburg or somebody else shoot it from the perimeter.
Inside the final minute of the first quarter. Cummings to back in on Massenburg, 6 to shoot. 5 to shoot in the fadeaway. Abdur-Rahim another rebound.
Abdur-Rahim not as strong as Foyle, but knows how to block off.
He's got 5 boards already. Beautiful feed. Massenburg can't finish. Outlet by O'Donnell Foyle. 3 on 2. Bimbo finishes it off.
I'm telling you, I love his aggressiveness. Bolstered by his confidence now.
Shot clock off. Vancouver will play for 1, leading by 2. Vancouver trailed at the end of the first quarter the last 6 ball games by an average of 6 points. Mayberry fade away, barely ticks iron. Felipe Lopez will have a shot. He'll miss fire. And so Vancouver, having lost 8 in a row and 11 of 12, gets off to a hot start behind Sharif Abdur-Rahim and hold a 2-point advantage over the Warriors returning to the arena in Oakland. Basketball on Fox Sports Bay Area at the arena in Oakland. Bob Fitzgerald, Jim Barnett, and Brian Weber with you as we get ready to begin the second quarter. Vancouver on top, a deuce. Lee Mayberry, Michael Smith, Big Country Reeves, and Sharif Abdur-Rahim for Vancouver. Mayberry losing the handle, and over and back violation forced by Terry Cummings and Bimbo Coles. Will play alongside Mills, Antoine Jamison.
Very frustrating for Coach Brian Hill, who really got the shaft in Orlando. Took him to the NBA Finals, lost to Houston in '95, won 60 games the next year. And then midway season, they were about 500. They let him go.
Lost the shack and got the shaft.
There you go.
A kick ball reset the 24. The inability to get along with a superstar. He and Anthony Penny Hardaway did not see eye to eye, and Brian Hill sent to Vancouver, where so far the superstars have stayed. Bibby, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and Big Country. The Grizzlies have spent the money necessary to keep their nucleus intact.
Well, they overpaid for Big Country. Cummings loses this out of bounds. They overpaid for Big Country. They did not overpay by paying the maximum to Sharif Abdur-Rahim, who will keep him in a uniform to the year 2004 and 5 season.
Well, they lost Sharif. The very stability of the franchise might have been in question. And he's someone that you build teams around. Sam Mack, the three-point bombardier, is checked into the ball game. Bryant Reeves has it knocked away, and a good outlet from Jamison to Bimbo Coles. Warriors down 2. Jamison. A little leaner, doesn't go. Big Country the rebound. Abdur-Rahim feeds Reeves inside, blocked from behind, but fouled.
Very close. Chris Mills got that ball right in front of D. Cantner. Round dribble. Let's see from behind. Strip inside was clean. It was clean from foil. They called it on Chris Mills from behind. Tough to see.
D. Cantner doesn't miss many. Chris Mills might differ on that. You can bring your old phone and get a $50 credit when you upgrade to a 2-year digital flex plan through Totally Wireless. 7 convenient locations, Totally Wireless, all the answers under one roof.
You know, they had a nice little communication there. Chris Mills came over and talked to D. Cantner, and so I always like to see that kind of interaction between a player and an official. She had a chance to call a tee. She did not do that.
Which is a veteran move for a young official.
I like
very nice. Mills rattling in the jumper, answers back the best way you can, and that's on the floor. And the Warriors within 1.
One-on-one with Sharif.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Now, Antoine Jamison's one of the quicker players in the league. That time, Sharif just beat him to the block and finished softly with the right-hand hook.
Well, he just gets to a spot on the floor, difficult to cover.
Warriors have no answer for Abdur-Rahim right now. 18 of Vancouver's 30 points.
Well, you've got to keep the ball out of his hands. When a guy's that hot, you've got to play him without the ball.
Shot clock at 3. Cummings from long range off the heel of the rim. A Donald Foyle, a new 24 for the Warriors. Foyle's got 4 rebounds in a good segment of minutes.
The screen is too high.
Bimbo Coles jumper, back iron. Cummings gives the Warriors a 3rd opportunity. O'Donnell inside traveled. Kind of surprised by the pass there. Timeout on the floor. 9:25 remaining in the half, and the Grizzlies proven to be a bear.
Back, Brian Weber with you. Like most teams, the Warriors have a better record at home. Our Chevrolet NBA Notebook points out just what a difference playing here in Oakland has made. There's improvement in every major category when they play in the East Bay. Maybe the biggest number is the scoring average at home. This team has played its best basketball when the transition game has worked, and they can score in the 90s, Bob. They're on that pace tonight, but the Grizz are just a little bit better so far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brian. Somehow, some way, the Warriors have to slow down Sharif Abdur-Rahim. And speaking of pacing, Muggsy Bogues reactivated and back in the ball game.
Well, when they play defense, they will get out and run. This was a great sequence just a few moments ago. A double team on Sam Mack. They get into Reeves, but look at Antoine Jamison from the weak side go to the passing lane. That resulted in a turnover, and they got out and ran on the play.
Muggsy Bogues missing the last 9 Warrior games. Checking in a little full court pressure.
Yeah, not to necessarily make a steal, just to disrupt and try to get some energy into the guys in white, the home team.
Muggsy with the chicken pox has recovered, but is trying to get back into game shape. Dampier also back into the ball game to play with Mills, Cummings, and Danielle Marshall.
Let's see how the Warriors come out without Sharif Abdur-Rahim on the floor right now.
Beautiful weak side defense from Cummings. Feed inside to Dampier, and he drops another one in. So Eric Dampier, 15 points on Friday, 12 points on Saturday, already 10 points tonight to go with his 6 rebounds.
See, Dampier ran Bryant Reeves. Reeves got into about the free throw line by the time Dampier caught the ball.
Lee Mayberry isolated on Bogues with 10 to shoot. Pete Chilcutt into the game for Vancouver. 3 to shoot. And we'll have a 3-second call on Big Country before the 24-second clock expires. And with Sharif Abdur-Rahim off the floor, this is a Warrior opportunity.
Dampier working in overplaying Reeves. They can't get a pass inside. It's tipped away. Warriors come up with it. And there's Reeves trailing the play. You'll see Dampier catch the ball. Reeves finally comes into the picture, but it's too late.
Gary St. Jean announced before the game that the Warriors and Eric Dampier's agent will talk after the season regarding a new contract. So the Saturday deadline to extend him is no longer really laying out there. Both sides have agreed to be better to talk in July when the Warriors can give him an additional 7th year. Sam Mack, a very good shooter.
He's off to his best start in his career this year.
Muggsy fouled on the drive. The basket will not count. Crowd doesn't appreciate it. Muggsy not in the act of shooting.
Good call from Decanter. There was a push long before he picked that foot up on the way to the basket.
New 24 for the Warriors, trailing by 3. Cummings, baseline, rattling it out off of Chris Mills. It will be Vancouver ball. So Warriors have shown flashes of solid play. Very good play from Dampier, already has 10, but the 18 by Abdur Rahim has given Vancouver enough of a lifeline to lead by 3. Muggsy Bogues stealing it from Bibby, and then Bibby pushed and fouled him.
Well, it's been a long time since Mike Bibby's played against a guy the size of Muggsy Bogues. The kind of quickness that he has. Terrific play. You know, little guys can really frustrate you. Bibby's not big by any means at 6'1", but when the little guy comes at you, you got to take care of the ball a little bit better. It's tough to have vision.
Bryant Reeves on the overplay and the steal. Big Country working hard that time on the defensive end.
I've never seen him extend that far, as a matter of fact. It's a tough matchup for Starks. Sam Mack can shoot right over him.
Mack does usually play with his back to the basket. Good outlet from Dampier to Muggsy Bogues in transition. The runner's down. It's a beautiful finish by Bogues, but credit Dampier getting it out quickly on the outlet pass.
Very close to a travel. I think Dick Pavetta ruled there was a little bump there. No harm, no foul. Let it play.
Big Country quickly over Dampier, was flailing out at him. Bryant Reeves now with 5. He's the second leading scorer for Vancouver, behind Abdur Rahim's 18. Sharif resting right now. Starks, right wing 2, kept alive by Cummings and Mills. New 24. Cummings and Mills, a miscommunication. And the Warriors' 7th turnover gives it back to Vancouver. Timeout on the floor. 6:14 remaining in the half, and the Grizzlies up 3. 6:14 remaining in the first half. You never know what Jim Rome is going to say on the last word, but he does talk to the leaders in the sports world tonight. Mike Montgomery on the hot seat. The last word midnight right here on Fox Sports Bay Area. Muggsy Bogues leads John Starks, Danielle Marshall, Chris Mills, and Eric Dampier onto the floor for the Warriors.
The Warriors have done a pretty good job defensively when they get into the passing lanes. And they get out and run by getting the defensive rebounds. But when Vancouver has had an opportunity to shoot the ball, they're converting most of the time. The Warriors haven't been able to stop the scorers tonight.
Vancouver shooting 48% from the field, but Abdur Rahim is 7 of 11. And his 18 points really got Vancouver rolling, and the longer the Grizzlies stay in this game, the more they're going to feel that they can steal one. And having lost 11 out of 12, you want to put a team like this to sleep. Halfway through the second quarter.
And you can't depend on turnovers by the other club to get you there. You have to make some stops on shooters.
Bibby's not going to turn it over a lot. Joe cut 3 doesn't go. Cherokee Parks brought it down.
He's dangerous, 39%.
Sam Mack misfiring, and Mills the rebound. Will start the break himself. To Muggsy in the middle, back to Chris Mills. And an offensive foul will take that bucket away.
Chris Mills is still laying there. I don't know whether he's just disappointed or a little bit of a bump. Let's check out where Sam Mack planted to take the charge. Tough to see because you can't see his feet. But was he inside that dotted line? You'll get a chance here. He was outside it.
That's a great call.
Great call by D. Cantner.
It's a great call. He was outside the no-fly zone, and it takes the bucket away. Bibby blitzed by Dampier and Bogues. Cherokee Parks from the outside, and Vancouver's good shooting continues. They now lead by 5.
That's the point I was trying to make, is that they're not stopping their possessions as far as when they get shots off. They're just not defending the shooters.
Starks off the Danielle screen. And now Mills on the penetration, drop it off. Dampier had that squirt out of his hand that he went up. Got his own rebound and was fouled. I don't know if Dampier knew he was going to dunk it or lay it in that time.
There's a lot of traffic. Let's see if he can knock down a couple of free throws. That's another hurdle that he needs to cross. Good drive from Mills and a nice dish off. He got kind of caught in between, Bob. Good observation, because he was at an angle. I don't think he could make a dunk. He might have hit his head on the bottom of the board even.
Dampier 0 for 3 free throwing, so with those 10 points and 7 rebounds, it could be even better. He was hitting those free throws. Tony Delk will check in. Muggsy Bogues sits down, hit his only shot in 4 minutes, quicken the pace, and play some decent defense on Mike Bibby.
That's what I thought. He disrupted the point guard, Mike Bibby. That was his biggest contribution.
Dampier making that free throw. Mercifully, only 12 free throws shot through a quarter and a half after witnessing 84 free throws on Saturday night. It's much more enjoyable NBA basketball. Abdur-Rahim was enjoyable every time he gets the ball. Misses a rare penetration.
Probably missed the easiest shot he had tonight.
Should be illegal for a guy 6'9", 6'10" to be that quick off the dribble.
He's very good off the dribble. Great pump fake and a great rocker step. Plus he's long. 6'9", he's got long arms. Knows how to finish.
Dampier double team. Cross court to Starks. 3 hotly contested. Dampier tipped it back, and the Warriors get another possession. Delk, a tough runner with the right hand, doesn't go. And Chilcutt will send Bibby on his way. Bibby baseline kick out. Cherokee Parks hit 1. Missing there. Dampier the rebound. A 3-on-1. Starks will take it himself and lay it in.
We did a little Jason Williams imitation there.
Timeout on the floor. 4:02 left to go in the first. Dampier has a double-double with 11 points and 10 boards, and the Warriors back within a bucket. Vancouver with a 2-point lead with 4:02 left to go in the half. The Vancouver Canucks, owned by the same people that own the Grizzlies, which leads us to hockey. It's the Sharks and the Red Wings Friday right here on Fox Sports Bay Area. Sharks looking to continue a playoff push. Has been stymied a little bit. And nothing has stymied Eric Dampier early, Jim. He's got 10 rebounds, and the Warriors running much more effectively.
Great finish by John Starks, but initiated by Eric Dampier, and he is playing at his optimum.
Again, the full court pickup. Bibby will be watched by Tony Delk. Danielle Marshall has Abdur-Rahim. And Sharif with the ball in the low block. 9 to shoot.
Now let's see. They're going to go single coverage with Marshall. He's got the long arms.
And he blocked the shot. A great segment of defense by Danielle. Starks on the counterattack in traffic to the trailer Dampier. Ball knocked away. And Vancouver with a steal. Bibby's foul line jumper doesn't go, and the Warriors look to run again. Chance to tie it this trip down. Marshall isolated on Pete Chilcutt. 360 finger roll. And we're even at 36.
Well, that may be a poor man's Dr. J's move. I mean, that was a pretty nice swing inside. A little underhand flip by Marshall.
Abdur-Rahim from 21 misfiring. And a rebound. Parks was held and fouled.
This would be nice luxury if Danielle could play Abdur-Rahim straight up. Now, Abdur-Rahim had terminated the dribble. Much easier to defend. At this end, though, I don't know how you defend this with the long arms and the curl inside. That's just a nice finish by Danielle.
And in the absence of Jason Caffey with the tendonitis in the Achilles, Marshall 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 12 minutes.
Again, single coverage. Danielle plays him.
Abdul-Rahim has to give it up. Chilcutt, a good outside shooter, misfiring, and Dampier ripped it away from everyone. Dampier now with 11 boards.
I love his determination today.
Warriors an opportunity to take the lead at the 2.5-minute mark remaining in the half.
And this is all Dampier has to give him. Little rebounds like that, get out and run. He'll get his points in the flow of things.
Shot clock at 5. Starks has to create. Shot clock at 3. Tough fadeaway jumper. Mills kept it alive, but Bibby will collect it. It's a 2-on-1. Alley-oop. And Felipe Lopez finishing it off.
It was a 40-foot pass right on the money. Almost as if he could have shot it to the rim himself.
Never even thought about it or broke stride. Bibby would be a very good point guard when it's all said and done. The entry by Starks, stolen by Parks. Abdul-Rahim again on Danielle. The fadeaway hooks an air ball. Danielle Marshall, 3 trips down, is denied Abdul-Rahim every time. Mills lost it. Ball is slippery or something. The Warriors having trouble holding on to it.
It got deflected a little bit, I think. And they're trying to create something right now. Vancouver has their attention.
22nd timeout by P.J. Carlissimo with 1:32 to go in the half. And it's a mixed bag for the Warriors in terms of positives and negatives. Dampier playing so well, and the rest of the team still trailing by 2. Busy arena in Oakland tomorrow night. Fresno State and Cal right here on Fox Sports Bay Area. First round of the NIT. And the Bears losing to Jim Barnett's Oregon Ducks, keeping them out of the tournament.
High-scoring game, and they shot the 3-point shot real well against Cal. So Cal finished in that conference race 8-10.
5-5 in their last 10 probably cost them, and the great wins against Arizona, North Carolina, and UCLA negated by finishing 5-5 down the stretch. The tournament committee looks at that pretty heavily.
Yes, they do. I may come down and check out Jerry Tarkanian tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's a good one for an NIT matchup. That might be the best first rounder going. Pretty good matchup tonight with Vancouver playing very well, and Sharif Abdul-Rahim losing the ball on his way to the rim. He expected a foul, but a clean steal. Starks to Jamison. Danielle had it knocked away.
They just didn't get him the ball quickly enough. Jamison got the ball late. He got ahead of the play.
Felipe Lopez just afraid of Dampier that time.
They got the numbers again, 4 on 3.
Starks down low to Marshall. Bibby on him. He was grabbed and dropped. Danielle to shoot a couple free throws. Spilled in the paint.
The pace is very fast right now, Bob, but they've got to take away the right hand of Sharif Abdul-Rahim at the other end. They simply let him do a little pump fake and go to the right every time.
Felipe Lopez just afraid of Dampier.
Yeah, he came up short. There's a little intimidation factor. Starks drops it in to Danielle. I don't think he had to do all the dribbling and curling, just right up and over. Initially on Mike Bibby would have gotten into the basket.
Danielle Marshall's free throwing coming along nicely. Now it's 68% is elevated. Danielle was below the 50% mark. Very effective production in his 21 minutes a night. Only 1 out of 2 there, though. The broadcasting jinx still in effect.
Bibby just going to work and give it to Abdul-Rahim after Lopez curls.
Abdul-Rahim on Marshall, knocked away by Jamison, but we'll have a reach-in foul. Warriors not over the limit, so that'll just reset the 24 clock and give Vancouver the ball out of bounds. Jamison's first.
Yeah, the Warriors have played this quarter aggressively, but didn't commit those fouls. Jason Caffey has got to be very disappointed, playing so well in Indiana and then coming up with that sore Achilles.
Well, there'll be 3 and 3 nights for Caffey later in the week. Abdul-Rahim gives it up. Chilcott's 3 is in. And so Vancouver, leading by 2 at the end of 1, pushes the lead to 4 here. tenths of a second, a couple tenths of a second game clock, shot clock, and the Warriors playing for 1. Delk Starks looking for Dampier, 5 to shoot. Dampier, little jump hook, back iron doesn't go. Dampier, put back, no, tip in Donyell Marshall. Final second of the half. And so a 2-point Vancouver lead at the end of 1. It's a 2-point Vancouver advantage at halftime. Warriors looking to continue that 5-game home winning streak, extending it to 6, and the Grizzlies trying to break their losing streak. Muggsy Bogues activated, providing energy, but not enough for the Warriors to lead. And now go to the Fox Sports Network Center.
Well, they shared that point guard position for all the minutes among the 3 of them, and you just did not get point production. Each of them only making 1 basket. Tony Delk in his minutes, 13 of them on the floor, 1 for 3. They did get out and run. Bimbo, nice finish on this play, 7 minutes on the floor, but they really didn't get a lot of people involved. Muggsy hit his only field goal attempt, but you're only talking about 4 assists among them.
Well, I think for Vancouver, it's Sharif Abdur-Rahim doing all of the damage. But early in the game, once Donyell Marshall was on him, second quarter, he didn't do a lot.
Well, neither team was good in the second half. Warriors only 6 for 19, and Vancouver not much better, only 6 for 17. But it was a first quarter barrage for Sharif Abdur-Rahim. 16 of his game-high 18 in that first quarter, including a 3-pointer. But I thought Donyell Marshall did a great job in the second quarter, limiting him to 1 out of 5 from the field in the second quarter.
Well, and I think also if you look at the Warriors, if they slow down Sharif Abdur-Rahim, they're going to win this game because Eric Dampier's gotten off to such a good start, pulling 14 rebounds, Jim. I think there's activity of their big guys. If Donyell's defense continues, they should win.
Well, you got to be careful about lulling yourself into the pretense that you can come back and beat a team that has lost 11 of the last 12 games, 8 in a row, and you can turn it on and off. And that's what Vancouver right now, they're looking at a big road trip starting tonight with the Warriors, and they feel this is a chance for them to get off the Snyder.
Well, the Warriors have won 5 in a row in this building. An opportunity to win 6 in a row is 24 minutes away. Third quarter action is coming up next.
Introducing America Choice from GTE Wireless. Now you can use your wireless phone anywhere in the country without worrying about roaming or long-distance charges. New America Choice, only from GTE Wireless. Welcome to the United States of America.
The 1999 Lexus ES 300, more powerful than ever, without losing so much as an ounce of civility.
We've been worried sick.
And don't give me that stuck in traffic story. You are gonna be punished.
Frank, he is 18.
But Dad, I had to drop Jenny off in Cleveland and Steve lives in Miami.
No Discover brokerage for 1 week.
Dad, Frank.
That's it, 1 week. No online investing. Now get that helicopter of yours off the lawn.
You can't control me forever!
This is where I go after school. There's always someone here to give advice and encouragement, and you never know who's gonna show up.
I know you're worried about that math test. Well, study hard and do your best, okay?
Whether shooting pool or helping with problems, having someone there for us really makes a difference.
Everyone wins when you volunteer. Team up to improve your community.
Bryant. Make sure you watch Fox Sports News every night at 10.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
Getting ready to start the third quarter with the Warriors down 2 to Vancouver. The leading scorers at the first half. Warriors paced by Eric Dampier, who really has the center position. It's all you could ask for Dampier for a game. 11 points and 14 rebounds. And traditionally, he's played well against Vancouver.
Well, he was good in Indiana. I think he's even better tonight. But they've got to get a better supporting cast and take over this lead and put a team that's struggling down and keep them down. They haven't been able to do that at all.
Mike Bibby, Felipe Lopez, Pete Chilcutt, Cherokee Park, Sharif Abdur-Rahim for Vancouver. Dampier, Delk, Mills, Daniel Marshall, and John Starks for the Warriors to begin the third. Abdur-Rahim with only 3 to shoot. Works on Dampier with 1 to shoot. Didn't get it off. 24-second violation. The shot misfired anyway.
Now they start that way again. Daniel Marshall on Cherokee Parks, Dampier on Abdur-Rahim. I'm surprised that Abdur-Rahim doesn't take Dampier out on the floor about 15, 18 feet and face up, because he's a very good face-up player with a live dribble.
And the Warrior turnover parade continues now. 12 turnovers for the Warriors, and that's the main reason they've been unable to catch Vancouver. Bibby on the drive, had it knocked away. The deflection pulled by Daniel Marshall. Dealt through the pass behind Mills, and the Warriors turn it over again. And out of bounds, but it'll be Vancouver ball.
And that's just carelessness, Bob. There's no excuse for that. And maybe Tony just slows down a little bit. Kind of an underhand dish pass rather than that bounce pass that goes bounding away.
And Delk makes up for it with a steal. Delk in transition, down low to Dampier. Good decision by Tony.
See how it came to a little jump stop, and then the flow came. Things opened up.
Vancouver's going to use a 22nd timeout. So Tony Delk clicking with Eric Dampier that time. And what does a jump stop allow you to do?
Well, watch this. First of all, it allows all the area to clear and the traffic, the trailers to come into play. You don't have to go all the way to the basket. If you, in fact, you know, the old school was you stop at the free throw line. Now that's not always possible, of course. But if you have players on your right and your left, you really shouldn't penetrate past that free throw line unless you're trying to create a 2-on-1.
And a guy like Tony, if everyone were covered and all the traffic went by, he could hit a free throw line jumper.
You know, the best guy in the history of the NBA at doing that was a guy named Hal Greer. Played for the Philadelphia 76ers, played 16 years in the league. And he was almost automatic on that play where it was a free throw for him. He would hit that shot 80% of the time. You're exactly right.
So Daniel Marshall has Abdur-Rahim this trip down. Felipe Lopez double team. Cherokee Parks with a long jumper off the top of the backboard and in. Had it gone over the top of the backboard, it's out of bounds, but that's one of the best shooter's rolls you'll ever see.
I was going to say that is the epitome of a shooter's roll.
Dampier singled up on Cherokee Parks, wheels back off glass, doesn't go. Bibby has not looked to score as yet, only has 2 points. Impressive handling the ball, but Sharif Abdur-Rahim has been Vancouver's offense. Felipe Lopez with the tip, and now Bibby with a steal. Bibby an alley-oop to Lopez, and Dampier undercut him. And Parks' pass is stolen. Delk had to get into the lane. The shot won't count. Bibby fouled him from behind.
Now see, the Warriors had a huge advantage on the boards. 32-22, 13 offensive rebounds. Talk about it in a minute. Cherokee Parks, bothered by Daniel Marshall, puts it up a little higher and gets the roll from the top of the board. It counts as 2. That's why Vancouver started Pete Chilcutt in the second half here. They're going with a little bigger lineup.
Delk with the runner, draws the foul. The previous foul was assessed to Sharif Abdur-Rahim, his third. That one on Mike Bibby. And Tony Delk starting to put together a nice segment of minutes here in the third quarter.
Well, Tony really needs to get his offensive game going. it's a nice way to start it here, a possible three-point play.
Delk, as we said, did not practice yesterday, attending to his mother recovering from heart surgery, and so getting back in the flow a little bit, missing the free throw there. Chris Mills knocked it away initially from Sharif. Now Cherokee Park's missing the jumper.
Danielle helped out on Sharif inside, then gathered in the rebound.
Chris Mills from left wing to drop it in, and Danielle Marshall getting the offense rolling. Danielle's defense has been a big difference here as the Warriors have tied it at 45.
So we got Marshall on Sharif. I like that matchup. He can play him straight up. Real key is to get him to terminate his dribble a little further out than he would like. And you don't do it there. He's so smooth.
Drive, and Sharif fouled and laid it in. Abdur Rahim had scored only 2 points since the first quarter until that field goal went in. Dampier has fouls to use, though. That only his second.
Beautiful move by Abdur Rahim. A little pump fake, up fake, and then he's one of those gifted players that can sense a little daylight coming, and he gets there just between the defenders before they close him down.
Sharif Abdur Rahim, 28 games at Cal, 21 points, 8 rebounds. His pro numbers even more impressive. 23 points and nearly 9 rebounds.
Pac-10 Player of the Year as a freshman. But he's just a scoring machine.
Tony Delk, foul line jumper is long. Warriors down 3. Vancouver's led for most of the ball game, but have not really pushed it out to a large advantage. Rahim with the reverse doesn't go. Dampier another rebound.
They've got to take away his right hand, though, to get some success.
A 4-on-3. Mills jumper around and out.
Lee Mayberry, 7 years in the league. Never been a big scorer, nor a big assist man, but Chilcutt can hit from the outside.
Chilcutt's got 5. Vancouver equaling their largest advantage now. A 5-point lead 4 minutes into the third quarter. Marshall right around Chilcutt and then ripped it down. Danielle Marshall with 9 points.
It's amazing to me how people at both ends of the floor allow a player to go to a strong side. Danielle went right along the baseline. Way to play that. Even step out of bounds. The defender can go out of bounds. The offensive player can't.
Abdur Rahim gets Marshall in the air and drops in the jumper, and that's probably a jumper you would yield instead of buying the pump fake. Nobody stops the ball for Vancouver. Tony Delk doesn't stop. Well, he's gone 94 feet, laying it in and drawing the foul.
Yeah, Felipe Lopez, his second start tonight, just does not stop the ball. That's the first thing you learn. When you're defending the man coming with you at the ball, you put him out as far as possible. Do not let him penetrate the lane.
Delk still struggling from the foul line, though, missing both attempts this quarter.
All the Warriors are struggling this game.
2 of 9.
Just abysmal.
3-point Vancouver advantage. Felipe Lopez in trouble, throw it to Sharif Abdur Rahim. Shot clock at 3. Lee Mayberry's 3, back iron. Chilcutt to Lopez, challenges Dampier. Dampier wins that battle and pulls the rebound. Delk in transition to Danielle. 2-hand flush. Vancouver's going to stop it.
One-on-one move. Danielle finishes this one in a half-court situation.
Now,
and then the 2-hand dunk.
Vancouver with a 1-point lead with 6:46 left to go in the third. Saturday, a big evening for the Warriors as Orlando in town. Third game in 3 nights, but it's Southwest Luggage Tag Night. First 10,000 people get a Southwest Luggage Tag. Also, it's Bart Ryder Night, and anyone showing a Bart ticket will have an opportunity for half-price tickets in the upper bowl seating categories. You know the number by now, 1-888-GSW-HOOP, and Tony Delk has continued to go to the hoop in the third quarter.
He's done such a nice job. The 4 assists more impressive than the scoring, but Tony's done a nice job once he started at that point guard spot, and I think he's come a long way from 10 or 12 games ago.
Delk is in last 7, 10 points and nearly 5 assists. And Lee Mayberry, dragging the pivot foot, turns it over to the Warriors. I think Brian Hill keeps looking up and still seeing that Vancouver's leading this ball game. And the Warriors have these little bursts, and then they're repelled by either Abdul Rahim or Chilcutt from the outside. It's only the Warrior miscues that are keeping Vancouver around. Dampier. It's stolen away by Mayberry.
See how Tony gave ground on Mayberry a launch, but Tony gave ground so he couldn't penetrate all the way, as Tony's been doing at the other end. Dampier has to be aware. I know he's having a great offensive night, but he's got to be aware when a smaller, quicker player comes in and you're putting it on the floor and exposing the ball.
That's Mayberry's first field goal. Dealt down low to Danielle, and Danielle's third dunk of the night. Marshall's got 13 to equal Dampier for Warriors scoring honors.
There it is.
Sharif Abdul-Rahim misses the dunk. Marshall tips it ahead. He may get dunk number 4. Yes, he does.
Sharif missed his easy one, and the Warriors go off to the races.
Warriors' first lead since they led 17-15 back in the first. 5.5 left to go in the third. Chilcutt to Abdul-Rahim. Dampier doesn't buy the pump fake. Chilcutt from the baseline. Mills with the rebound.
Good block out by Starks on Parks to help.
Starks looking to feed Danielle Marshall. Chilcutt on the overplay. Starks launches the jumper. So the Warriors continue to roll. Push the lead to 3.
This is where they need to put that hammer down.
It's been a group effort. Marshall this quarter dealt. Now Starks getting into the act.
Sharif just waits for the traffic to clear.
Beautiful finger roll jump hook by Abdul-Rahim, who now has 25.
Now that shot's impossible to stop. I mean, he can get to that position if he catches the ball down that deep.
And you can't play him just to go right because it goes left so well, too. Starks elbow jumper, and John Starks back to back. Perimeter shots. He has 11, the third Warrior in double figures. Marshall.
A little better chance here, see.
Rahim shooting from 3. Ball batted away. Starks able to save it. Dampier lost it. And Mayberry broke up the fast break. Abdul-Rahim will be grabbed by Dampier. Good solid foul to prevent the dunk. And a 4-point swing as the Warriors can have a dunk on the other end.
When Abdul-Rahim can catch the ball about 8 feet from the hoop, and he can get to any spot on the floor, that little jump hook, he feels like he can score on any given possession. That's the kind of mentality that he has.
Abdul-Rahim already over his average with 25. And continuing his 80%. Free throw shooting 4 of 5. Seems to like to get away from the garage up in Vancouver. And very well on the road. Bryant Reeves, we are told, will not return stomach flu. So Sharif may really have to carry the load for Vancouver, just as the Warriors substitute Cummings, Coles, and Adonal Foyle, as well as Jamison. Starks, the 3 missed short. And Michael Smith pulls the rebound. Warriors should be fresher. They've been off since Saturday. Vancouver played last night. Very good shooting from both teams this quarter. Shot clock winds down to 7. Abdul-Rahim around Antoine Jamison. Fouled, scores, goes to the line again, and a big difference between Danielle Marshall's defense and Antoine Jamison's.
See, Abdul-Rahim has the footwork down. It makes all the difference in the world. Watch how much distance he covers. He picks that ball up. He may have stepped on the line, by the way, but he picks that ball up just at the same time his feet are planting, so he gets away with a little extra step. That's a very clever move, and it's tough to call traveling. Sometimes it looks like it, but it's very subtle. But he gets a huge advantage that way. If you slowed that down, you'd be amazed how much distance he can cover.
Abdul-Rahim now with 29. bounds. Remain Warrior ball with 9 to shoot.
Make him work at that end. He's getting tired. Abdur-Rahim. He plays over 40 minutes a game. One of 7 guys who does that.
Timeout on the floor. 3:02 remaining in the third, and the Warriors continue to pound it inside. Vancouver will not go away. Daniel Marshall has had the biggest third quarter of anyone on the floor.
At the arena, welcome back. The return of Sharif Abdur-Rahim to the Bay Area got us thinking about what might have been for California. If he had stayed, this would have been his senior year in Berkeley. And since we're speculating, Dirk Nowitzki of the Mavs almost jumped into the lineup. He considered going to Cal, coming out of high school in Germany. Remember, tomorrow, the Bears take on Fresno State here at the arena. First round of the NIT. We'll bring you the game at 7:30.
Antoine Jamison misfiring off the inbounds.
Yeah, the Warriors haven't gotten good production up from the bench. Michael Smith misses this, but as far as points on the board, Marshall starting just takes him out of that bench lineup, and the Warriors have suffered from that.
Yeah, Warriors been outscored 14-8 in bench points. Terry Cummings trying to provide some bench points, does. And why is that important? The Warriors have not won a game this year in which their opponents outscored them off the bench. They're 0-6.
Yeah, and you can see it, and you alluded to it in the first half. Jamison is struggling, just struggling with his overall game now. It looks like the first 5 games.
Abdur-Rahim to Michael Smith, a lot of contact, lost the ball. Bimbo Coles with Delk in the backcourt. Bimbo steps into the jumper, drops it down.
See, the guards should be able to create a shot for each other anytime in an open court opportunity situation like that. I like that kind of play.
Delk is the only starter on the floor for the Warriors, so an important 2 minutes here as they try to put a little distance between themselves and the Grizz. And we'll have an illegal defense. The first on the Warriors, resetting the 24 clock with 1:47 remaining here in the third.
This is a heck of a challenge for the rookie Antoine Jamison to defend Abdur Sharif. And don't be surprised, they go right back to Abdur, and he faces up again. 2-man game, Bibby and Smith.
Bibby bottled by Donald Foyle, and Chilcutt's 3, around and out. Michael Smith working on the offensive glass, draws the foul, and that's Michael Smith's game in a nutshell. You do not box him out. He will find a way to get a hand on the ball. Smith out of Providence, originally a Sacramento King. His 5th season, 26 years of age. And Michael Smith was found when people went to scout Dickie Simpkins. They played on the same Providence team. And Smith actually lasted to the 2nd round, while Dickie Simpkins was taken by Chicago in the 1st round.
Now, Michael Smith does not have an offensive game, but he is a terror on the glass. I'm surprised he's only playing 20 minutes a game with the Vancouver team, quite frankly.
This is both free throws. Donald Foyle's rebound is his 7th.
Warriors do have the lead, but they just keep letting Vancouver hang around.
Donald double team. Bimbo Coles jumper, a high arcer over Abdur-Rahim, and the Warriors are up 5.
You know, I don't even think Bimbo Coles is paying attention to a defender. He just shoots the ball. It's almost like he knows where the basket is. He doesn't even look at all and not bothered by the defender.
Beautiful feed from Bibby to Michael Smith, and Jamison had to foul him.
Good foul to give, though.
This 5-point advantage is the Warriors' largest, but that is a good foul because
check out Bimbo as he just looks at the basket, puts it up in the air, good follow through, and it finds nothing but net. Beautiful shot.
Michael Smith shooting free throws at about 64%. Subject to trade talks, whether or not Smith could be traded to teams looking for a rebounder. Vancouver looking for help in a multitude of areas, primarily in the off-guard spot.
It's interesting, though. A third of his rebounds come at the offensive end. It looks like he would get to the line more often by putback attempts. That was only his 25th free throw of the season.
Delk missed it short. Chilcutt the outlet. Vancouver has numbers. And Bibby is fouled.
No, this is a guy you don't want to foul.
Jamison has 4 fouls now in 12 minutes on the floor, picking up that one and sending Bibby to the line.
And unfortunately for Antoine, that's the highest number in the statistical category. There's not much else there.
Yeah, Jamison has yet to score and pulled only 2 rebounds.
He's got another 4, but that's field goal attempts.
Now, I wonder if the Clippers could rethink the draft if they still would have taken Michael Olowokandi over Mike Bibby. Antoine struggling, sits down. Daniel Marshall checks in.
I can't answer the question, but I can answer it this way. Bibby certainly would have had more of an impact because he knows how to play the game immediately. Olowokandi is a good 3 to 4 years away. I really think so. Let's just say 3 anyway. He is very reticent to really get involved because he just doesn't understand the game. He hasn't played much his entire life. Bibby grew up playing basketball.
And if they hadn't spent $60 million on Bryant Reeves, I don't think they're going to take another center right on top of that. Terry Cummings, an offensive foul, wave off that basket. And the veteran Dick Bavetta calling the clear out on the veteran Terry Cummings.
I never met Henry Bibby until tonight. Take a look at Cummings and watch the left arm as he hooks Sharif Abdur-Rahim inside. Not much contact, but pretty good veteran move. I introduced myself to Mike and told him that he and his father and I were traded for each other one time, and we were also played on the same team together in Philadelphia.
Bibby losing it. Cummings with the steal. Ahead to Daniel Marshall. Marshall's finger roll doesn't go. Dell able to tip it in, but Daniel might have sprained an ankle.
Sprained his left ankle. He slipped on the floor.
We'll update Daniel Marshall's physical situation as Delk tips it in at the end of 3. So the Warriors down 2 at the half, lead by 4, looking for their 6th home win in a row. Dick Bavetta's got to be the hardest working official in the league, and the Warriors hard working offensively, doubling their productivity in the 3rd. And Daniel Marshall missed the easy one, Jim, and I think the ankle giving way a little bit certainly had a lot to do with that missed opportunity.
Well, he tried to keep the ball in play, did a great job, but he did tweak the left ankle, but he is starting the 4th quarter.
Jason Caffey not in uniform, so Marshall's minutes very important. Daniel 15 points to go with his 5 rebounds. Bimbo Cole's runner hits the side of the backboard. And batted out of bounds. It will be Vancouver ball, and I think Dick Bavetta is going to overrule Derek Stafford.
Yeah, because Daniel let it go out of bounds. He started to go after it, and believe me, if he had a good ankle, probably would have been a little more aggressive on this one play. But it's tipped out of bounds. Daniel did knock it down. That may be a good call in retrospect.
And Dick Bavetta, after consulting with Derek Stafford, will let it stand. Bibby, Michael Smith, Cherokee Parks, Sam Mack, Sharif Abdur-Rahim for Vancouver. Dampier, Coles, Cummings, Marshall, and Delk for the Warriors. Parks got Cummings in the air and ripped it down with a right-hand drive.
Now, is Cherokee Parks going to shoot a 3-pointer from the corner or probably take you off the drive to the left? That's one of the rare mistakes I've seen Cummings make this year.
Off the ball, Dick Bavetta has a foul as Tony Delk was trying to come around a few screens. Sam Mack grabbing Delk will pick up the foul. And Delk knocked down again by Mack, and Tony may have injured himself.
Number 7, Sam Mack, 2nd personal, 2nd team.
And John Starks will quickly hop off the Warrior bench. Delk had 9 assists in that 3rd quarter.
Well, his season high was 9 against Indiana. But let's watch what happens. He starts to drive, and I'll tell you what he has. He has a Charlie horse of his left thigh, a contusion of the left thigh, right above the knee, and that's where Tommy is spraying that ethyl chloride, which freezes it up.
Daniel Marshall from outside, dropping in the jumper. It's been all Daniel all the time tonight. 17 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Warriors are led by as many as 5. Grizzlies the same. Abdur-Rahim with Marshall on him defensively. Cummings comes to help. Shot clock down to 5. Michael Smith with 3 to shoot. Out to Bibby, a 3. Dropped it in.
Number 10, Mike
He knows how to hit pressure shots. We've seen that when he was in Arizona. And that was a long pressure shot.
To a one-point game. Marshall had that partially blocked by Abdur-Rahim. Cummings keeps the Warrior possession alive. Fadeaway with 5 on the clock is long, and Cummings 2 of 6 shooting tonight.
Abdur-Rahim has such great hands.
And here taking a turn on Abdur-Rahim. Cummings comes to double. Sharif for 3, and Daniel Marshall the rebound. Marshall along 2 is right in again, and they're going to call it a 3. His right foot was on the line, and he'll get a little benefit there with the extra point. Warriors push it up to 4 with 9.5 left.
Daniel is still playing very gingerly on that ankle.
Sharif for 3 right back. And after hitting only 3 all season long in the first 18 games, Abdur-Rahim has 2 threes made tonight. And 32 overall. His career high is 39.
February 17th, triple overtime loss to Boston. In fact, they one win since that to Lakers, but they've been going downhill. Kind of took it out of them.
Starks launching a 3 right back, and as well as Dampier's played inside, the Warriors have forgotten about him offensively. Bibby's elbow jumper. Dampier another rebound. Dampier with 17 boards. His career high in that department is 18. One-point Warrior lead. 8.5 remaining in the ball game. Marshall working on Abdur-Rahim. Blocked his shot, did Sharif. Warriors retain possession. Timeout on the floor. 6 to shoot when we come back. Warriors up 1, but they have to find an answer for Abdur-Rahim, and Marshall is auditioning for the job. Warriors up 1 with 8:26 remaining, and almost, I'd say, a third to a half of the Oakland Raiders squad is here tonight. That's Fred Giudice, Willie Brown, John Gruden was in attendance, Lincoln Kennedy, all sitting in the same section. Many of the Raiders taking in the Warrior game.
They can put a little muscle on the boards.
Absolutely. There's a lot of muscle, a lot of beef in that section of the stands. Rich Gannon also here, newly acquired quarterback. Warriors lead by 1. Muggsy Bogues losing that pass from Starks. Tony Delk really having problems with that, as Jim called it, a Charlie horse on the left leg. He's not very limber on the Warrior bench and may be done for the night.
Well, that can keep you out for quite a while. I had a lot of those during my career. Drivers get a lot of those.
Muggsy Bogues was dropped by a screen. He's laying in pain at midcourt while Vancouver continues offensively. Abdur-Rahim's 3 doesn't go, and the Warriors have to take a timeout as Muggsy did not move from that spot after he was leveled by a screen.
Well, point guards are dropping like flies right now.
Muggsy in a lot of pain with 8:02 remaining. Warriors will take a timeout. Delk hobbled as well, and Bimbo Coles is the last point guard standing.
Muggsy trying to fight over a screen, does not see it by Cherokee Parks. And you know what? He may have suffered a contusion of the right thigh also.
Well, you hope it's a muscle thing, because
I think it is. I think it's the same thing Tony had. Tony had it on the left thigh right above the knee straight on. Now Muggsy, unless it's the knee, looks like the spray of the ethyl chloride is to the right side of the knee. And that's just a little bone on bone. It's usually not, Bob, serious. And in that kind of situation where you get a collision, that screen was also very, very close to being illegal. Setting too close.
If it were a ligament thing, would he have immediate pain like that? Because he was writhing on the floor.
Well, you're going to have pain. Usually you have more pain if you bang it, quite frankly, hitting on the bone.
8:02 remaining. Muggsy Bogues receiving the cheers as he really is hobbled after getting knocked down. Doesn't put any weight on it.
And by the way, we got the explanation from Dick Bavetta. 22nd timeout for the Warriors. He's immediately substituted for is Muggsy. So the Warriors will not be charged with a full timeout because they just can't get him off the floor. And I hope this is just muscle. But it's too tough to speculate.
Muggsy Bogues had missed 9 games with the chicken pox. Comes back tonight. Had only played 5 minutes, but leveled by the Cherokee Park screen.
Well, Bob, I'm sorry, but the way he's walking, he's not. I think it's his knee. I think it banged knees. Let's watch Parks' his right knee as he puts it out and bangs right into Muggsy. I think that was bone on bone there. And there's not a lot of bone on Muggsy's knees as he's had some knee operations. Because if that were just a contusion, you would drag the leg, but you could certainly walk off quicker.
Wayne Farrell was put on the injured list today. He must miss a minimum of 5 games. And so if Bogues is unable to continue certainly tonight, but the Warriors played 3 games in 3 nights. They will be down to only 2 point guards and only 11 healthy bodies on the roster in their first sequence of back-to-back-to-back.
Well, you might see Starks at point guard later on this week and Chris Mills at the shooting guard. And that's a bad pass by John Starks. They got away with it. Dampier was not expecting it on that side, and that was a blind bounce pass. See, the way this game is dragging right now, it's all in Vancouver's favor. Warriors have to be extremely careful.
11 to shoot as Starks catches the inbounds. Kicks it out to Bimbo Coles. Baseline jumper, dropped it in, and Bimbo shooting remarkable over the last 10 games or so. 4 of 7 tonight. 8 points. Warriors push the lead back up to 3.
Good creation by Starks on that last play. What a pass inside.
Smith can't finish off the nice Bibby feed. Daniel Marshall ahead to Bimbo Coles. Coles ahead of everyone to lay it in.
Tremendous play by Marshall. Fighting through traffic, having the presence to push it ahead.
Now Daniel, the toughest defensive assignment on the floor, guarding Sharif. Michael Smith to work on O'Donnell Foyle. Shot clock at 8. O'Donnell, excellent defense, but Smith throws in a shovel prayer that was answered. And Vancouver back within 3.
I'd still rather see Michael Smith shoot that shot than have the ball in the hands of Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Starks and Dampier, a little 2-man game. Bimbo Coles feeling it. Has not cooled off at all. A little hot Coles tonight as he's got a dozen.
Is there anybody more focused on the floor than Bimbo Coles at any given time? He told me the other night he just likes to win. It really hurts his stomach when the Warriors lose.
Bimbo Coles fouling Bibby. We'll have a timeout as we hit the mandatory. 6:26 remaining in the ball game. Warriors up 5, but Vancouver hanging around. Warriors up 5, and beginning tonight's ball game with Muggsy Bogues activated, they were flush with healthy point guards, Jim. 3 on the roster. They're down to 1 healthy point guard in Bimbo Coles. And fortunately, his activity has been excellent here.
Well, Bimbo has been brilliant the last few minutes. For Muggsy Bogues, remember 3 years ago, he only played 6 games with Charlotte after having arthroscopic surgery on his left knee, so he hurt his good knee tonight.
So Muggsy with a knee injury, Tony Delk with a contusion on the thigh, got a bad Charlie horse, and Bimbo probably have to go the whole way at point. Lee Mayberry passed up the jumper. Marshall tipped it away. Coles with Lopez to beat. Does so. Warriors' largest lead is right now. They're up a touchdown halfway through the 4th.
Well, Bimbo picked it up in that Charlotte game at home here a few weeks back. Down at the Clippers, played great in Indiana. And right now, he's your MVP tonight, along with Dampier.
That's the unstoppable shot by Sharif Abdur-Rahim, even with the long arms of Marshall. Sharif now with 34, 5 away from his career high.
Warriors would settle for having him have a career high, and then with the W.
Dampier working in the lane, little jump hook, tips off the front iron. Cherokee Parks from outside drops in the jumper, and Parks has been a revelation. 5 of 7 shooting. He's got a double-double, 10 points to go with his 10 rebounds.
Remember what I said earlier, that Parks always plays well against the Warriors?
Remember the season opener in Minnesota last year?
Yeah.
He had 20 points.
20 points. He's 2 off his season high tonight already.
6 to shoot. They try to set up Daniel. 4 to shoot. Marshall. Jumper doesn't go. 4 couldn't tip it in.
And Vancouver keeps hanging around.
Daniel Marshall grabbing Sharif Abdur-Rahim, fouls him, but non-shooter. Only the second team foul on the Warriors, second personal on Daniel. Vancouver's only committed 2 team fouls. You're going to have that in a Dick Bavetta officiated game. There's only been 26 free throws between both teams. And now an offensive foul on Cherokee Parks, trying to free Sharif Abdur-Rahim. That's Parks' 3rd. So like many games at home throughout this season, the game laying right in the balance with 4:39 left. Warriors with the ball up 3. In fact, nearly every home game has come right down to the wire, save the Utah Jazz game. Utah decided that one in the 3rd quarter. Marshall to work on Chilcutt. Drives in the lane. Finger roll block by Parks. Mills had it briefly. And Mayberry touched it last. It's Warrior ball with only 6 to shoot. Four to shoot. Starks tried to pass it to Marshall. Vancouver with the steal. Sharif in full flight. Off glass doesn't go. Warriors have a chance to run it back. The trailer is Starks. Finishes. No. It'll rim out, but a blocking foul, and Starks to the line. And Felipe Lopez paid for his courage that time.
Warriors dodged a bullet at the offensive end. Dampier got held running down the floor. But still, I don't think Bimbo would have dropped it into Dampier. He chose the trailer instead, which was a wise decision.
Starks' first free throws of the night.
They're really lucky, though. Not in the free throw situation, but Abdur-Rahim missing that driving shot a moment ago.
Warriors 2 of 10 free throwing tonight.
That's not acceptable. It's just incredible. And Starks has joined that parade of just starting before he went on the road, not being able to get it down.
That free throw rattled around 3 times before finally dropping, and the Warriors lead is now 4 with 4 minutes to play.
Warriors struggled. Remember, they were 21 for 38 from the line against Phoenix last time they were here at home.
Vancouver takes time. 3:57 remaining in the ball game. Warriors up 4. Bimbo Cole's last point guard standing. At home, lead by 4, just under 4 minutes left. A busy arena in Oakland. Tomorrow night, Cal, Fresno State, Tarkanian leads the Bulldogs against Ben Braun and the Golden Bears. That'll be 7:30 right here on Fox Sports Bay Area. While the Warriors have played very well on this floor recently, Cal has been magical at the arena in Oakland, upending UCLA and North Carolina, Arizona. Mayberry, Abdur-Rahim, Chilcutt, Parks, and Felipe Lopez for Vancouver. Down low to Cherokee Parks. He is grabbed.
It'll be a non-shooting foul, but I just keep thinking about those free throws. Warriors with a 4-point lead. If they'd made half the free throws, just 50%, they'd have a 7-point lead. It's a little better cushion.
Yeah, 3 of 11. Currently, this is the worst percentage the Warriors have shot in franchise history in a game, 27%. Lopez denied by Starks. Kicks it out to Cherokee Parks. His jumper's an air ball. Daniel with a rebound. 3 on 3. No man disadvantage. Bimbo's jumper right through. Bimbo Coles, 8 of 11 shooting as 16.
Last year, he would have taken that shot. He would have tried to set up the offense. He's helping the team by being offensive-minded.
Abdur-Rahim double teaming, gets Marshall in the air and drew the foul. If Daniel had just stayed down, he had very good defensive position.
I don't have to add to that. It's exactly right. I'm so surprised because he had help. Why did he leave his feet?
Sharif Abdul-Rahim, free throws 9 and 10. Missing there. Bimbo Coles, the field goal percentage at 43%. Don't forget, through the first 6 games of the season, he was shooting 21%. So to raise that, since that time, he shot nearly 65% in fourth quarters over the last 7 games.
Well, remarkably, and maybe not so remarkably, but he's outplayed Mike Bibby on the floor tonight, certainly.
Raheem 1 out of 2. Warriors lead by 5. Dampier in the lane. Little runner off glass is in. Dampier's got 15 points and 18 rebounds. It's a 7-point Warrior lead. A couple defensive stops will seal it. Abdul-Rahim partially deflected by Dampier. Bimbo the deflection. Bimbo holds on to it. The Warriors will run a set play, leading by 7. Equals their largest lead of the night. Coles fouled as he penetrated with only 4 to shoot.
Well, they're making their run at the right time. And Bimbo will stay on the floor because there's no more Muggsy tonight. He's going to be X-rayed, in fact, and there's no more Tony Delk, as we suspected. Good crossover move by Bimbo. He was kind of sandwiched, grabbed. Non-shooter. Next one for either team will be a shooting foul.
Starks with the new 24. Down low to Marshall. Kick it to Dampier. Blocked, but fouled, and Dampier to the line.
Number 13, Felipe Lopez. 4th personal foul.
Good pass inside, and right off the dribble, Danielle with a touch pass to Eric Dampier. A lot of ball on that play.
Dampier was bodied that time, went up strong with 2 hands, and career high tying 18 rebounds. And free throws down the stretch. For young players, especially Dampier being 24, Jim, the sweaty palms, the nervousness, free throws in a critical time at 2:05. Everything they do in these type of games is a learning experience. And so for him to knock that first one down is big. Antoine Jameson still learning.
And a little dejected tonight. 2 big free throws for Dampier.
Dampier with 17 points, 18 rebounds, continues the play that he started in Indiana and Cleveland at the tail end of the road trip. Bimbo Coles got a hand on it. Felipe Lopez, baseline jumper, keeps Vancouver alive.
Now the Warriors won't push the ball on and take any chances right now. They're going to use most of the clock from here on out.
100 seconds left, 7-point lead. Warriors with the ball. 5 to shoot. Starks will have to go. 3 to shoot. Starks rises. Off back iron. Abdul-Rahim the big rebound.
Stark was waiting for Dampier to come out on a screen. Dampier wanted it inside.
Chilcott, beautiful pass to Parks, and it's a 5-point game. And Vancouver, a little token full court pressure.
See, the Warriors, they get lulled into that. I knew they were going to use some time, and it's kind of a catch-22 because they need to score. They can't just play it out.
Dampier with 8 to shoot. Double team. Rotated to Mills. Lean in. Jumpers in.
Double clutcher, tough.
Mills, only 8 tonight, but none bigger than that jumper. Vancouver is going to take time. 50.1 seconds remaining. Warriors back up 7. Vancouver's lost 8 in a row, and it may end up being 9 after Mills puts this one away. Warriors lead by 7. Let's take a look at our Discover card. Payback play of the game. Had a feeling it would involve Bimbo Coles, who scored 10 of his 16 points here in the fourth quarter. It's a theme all year, Jim. Warrior defense leading the Warrior offense.
Good steal coming up with it there. Warriors challenging defensively. That's your Discover card. Payback play of the game. I don't need to read that card, Bob. But that got the Warriors to about a 6-point lead, and they pushed it up from there.
Daniel Marshall, a huge contribution tonight, 20 points and 9 rebounds. Dampier, 17 points, 18 rebounds.
Now let's see what Vancouver does right now. It's time enough. They don't need to go to threes. They're down by 7. A couple possessions left. And you can still take it to the basket and then foul. The way the Warriors have been shooting free throws, you could try to get something going to the hoop. They're not going to. Sam Mack is a three-point shooter. They were looking for him to shoot it.
Bibby will shoot the 3, miss it short. Big rebound, Chris Mills. He'll be fouled. And the Warriors may have done enough to win their 6th in a row at home. Last time the Warriors won more than 6 in a row was in a 10-game home winning streak under Don Nelson back in February of 1994. So starting to defend your home floor, clearly a key part of becoming successful in the league. And with Minnesota and Orlando looming the rest of the week, then Sacramento, San Antonio, Seattle next week, a lot of home games. The Warriors will have to shoot better from the foul line, though. 5 of 14, 35%.
That's the thing. When the good teams come in, you get a Minnesota in, you get Orlando in, you get Seattle in, you have got to take advantage of every little opportunity because the good teams will make you pay.
Bibby to Sharif Abdul-Rahim. The drive down the lane. Off glass doesn't go. Starks will control it, and that'll do it. Starks will be fouled. Vancouver certainly game enough. Until about 4 minutes left in the 4th. Good Warrior defense. Proven to be the difference. And this, like the Clipper road game, Jim, and the Dallas home game, the Charlotte home game, this is a game the Warriors had to have. Vancouver had lost 8 in a row. They had lost 11 of 12.
Well, they're going to come out victorious on this, but I know that they gave PJ and his coaching staff a little cause for concern. And the other concern is you lose Muggsy Bogues and Tony Delk. You don't know how long Tony will be out with a contusion, but he's got ice on it right now. And as I say, those things can keep you out for anywhere from a few days to a week or so.
And even when you come back, you probably don't feel all that good. Starks 1 out of 2. Vancouver will take time. 23.6 left in the 4th. Warriors going to win their 6th in a row at home. 3 seconds left. Coming up right after the ball game on Fox Sports Prime Time. We'll have the Coyotes and the Sharks, the Lakers and the Clippers. Can LA remain undefeated under Kurt Rambis? And Marcus Johnson breaks down the NBA under the Fox scope. That's all coming up next, right after the Warriors finish off the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Well, my last update, the Lakers were beating the Clippers. Clippers at home tonight, looking for their 16th loss without a win. The Lakers looking for 8 in a row if they win that game. How about Milwaukee?
So Bimbo Coles leading the Warriors. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Milwaukee is playing so well right now. They clipped the Knicks in New York by 1 tonight.
Wow, they had just beaten them by 1 at their place.
Yes. So they moved to 11-5. That's a surprising team for me.
Yeah, Terrell Brandon made a couple free throws earlier.
How about this? The Minnesota Timberwolves, the Warriors' next opponent, win by 1 at home against Seattle. Seattle's slumping.
Sharif Abdul-Rahim can't get it to go. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be Vancouver ball. Bibby off the baseline, misfiring. Mills with the rebound. And the Warriors early in the season struggled in 4th quarter play. Tonight added on to their 4-point lead at the end of 3 and have excelled here in the 4th quarter in all aspects except for free throw shooting.
Well, I thought they did a much better job on Sharif Abdul-Rahim. Now, Abdul-Rahim did have his moments in the second half. He wasn't able to finish as strongly at the basket, and I think they wore him down a little bit, making him play at both ends of the floor, making him run tonight.
Well, Sharif is going to finish with a line of 45 minutes played. He had 1 rest. He had 16 points in the 1st quarter, 35 overall, but it's a lot like teams used to play Michael Jordan early in his career. He goes for Astro points, as Chuck Daly used to call it, shut down everybody else, it's not enough to beat you.
As I said before, he's one of 6 players averaging 40 minutes or more per game this year in the NBA.
Bimbo 1 out of 2. Sam Mack falling out of bounds. 3 doesn't go. And that'll do it. So the Warriors moved to 8 and 10. A year ago, it took them 41 games to win 8 games. Tonight, it takes only 18. They moved to 8 and 10. They've won 6 in a row at home. The Vancouver Grizzlies dropped to 4 and 15. They now have lost 9 in a row overall.
Well, they came to life in the second half and did the things necessary. I thought Dampier was magnificent at both ends of the floor. Daniel Marshall effective. A great third quarter for him, and Bimbo Coles once again came through in the fourth.
Warriors have a day off to heal their wounded. See what's going on with Tony Delk and Muggsy Bogues, and then back in action our next game on Fox. Minnesota will be right here at the arena in Oakland at 7:30. And then on Friday, the next game on KICU, the Warriors head down to L.A. to take on Shaq and the L.A. Lakers. Coming up next is Fox Sports News Primetime. For Jim Barnett, this is Bob Fitzgerald saying goodbye from the arena in Oakland. The Warriors have won 6 in a row at home. The Grizzlies leave an angry and wounded set of Bears.
Both playing extremely well.
12 points for Howard, who played at the nearby University of Michigan, part of the Fab Five. From Chicago, where he had a horrible upbringing, and came here in a rebirth and became a man, and he has said that. Grant Hill, he is always the man.
Yeah, well, the NBA will make you a man. Either that or you're out. There's no in between.
6 in the quarter for Hill, 15 for the game. Howard again quickly doubled. Wisely so. Thorpe with the touch pass to Wallace, which whistles over his head.
Now the pass went out of bounds, but it was a great pass. Wallace was just not ready. The problem is you got a on-fire Mitch Richmond, who was also wide open, and he was not very happy that that ball was not swung to him.
He is demanding the ball. With the turnover story right there, the Bullets, or rather the Wizards, I knew I'd say it once, the Wizards have only turned it over 8 times in this game.
Well, you said it first, so you're buying dinner.
Yeah, okay, well, why catch it? Here's Hill to Vaught to Montross with Daly out, picked up by Wallace. They got Richmond at the other end, colliding with Joe D, who held his ground.
Boy, he really did, because that was a collision.
2.5 to play in the third. Hill knocks it away. Plucked out of midair by Dumars.
It's really neat to watch this game because the star players are doing it on both ends of the court.
Vaught. Montross keeps it alive. Hill back to Hunter, who will carefully craft something here. He's like a fish underwater as he shimmies all over the floor.
McGinnis again playing nice defense.
3-on-1. Dumars held him, and the ball and bodies fly out of bounds.
Joe Dumars going back to the old bad boys days on that last play right there. Well, great defense by McGinnis. I mean, that is such a nice job. First he slides under the pick and roll and then follows and watch the late swing. That's an old Isaiah Thomas play, as a matter of fact. And then comes down on the other end and gets hammered by Joe Dumars.
So McGinnis to the line. And that is the first missed free throw by the Wizards tonight.
And they're much better this year than they were last year from the free throw line. Really struggled last year from the line.
The CBA is where this kid really made his name.
Well, you know who drafted him with the Nuggets? Bernie Bickerstaff.
Yes.
That's why he's back with Bernie Bickerstaff, because he saw his talent. I saw him this winter early in the CBA, and he can play.
Larry Vaught trying to beat Wallace. Inside he climbs, and a foul.
Lorie Vaught is being that aggressive Lorie Vaught that they saw with the Clippers. They haven't seen it yet here. You know, Alvin Gentry again was telling us, we're really not worried about Lorie. We're going to wait till next year. And then if he's struggling, we're going to say, oh, but right now he's playing pretty good basketball.
Well, tomorrow night on TNT, the Sonics, who began the season 5-0, but now they're really staggering. In fact, the Timberwolves beat them over the weekend, playing Minnesota tomorrow. Then we'll have the Knicks and Bucks, and that is going to be an interesting game. The Bucks much improved, and the Knicks have held, I think, a league-high 4 teams under 70 points this year. Doing it surprisingly? No, with defense.
With defense. And the other night, the Bucks beat the Knicks on a last-second